Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So in the last episode, I spoke about empathizing with the customer and how we discussed right a different scenario where if a customer has a problem, so different steps you can do. Right, you can shadow the customer, take notes, and different aspects just to help the customer. Right now, let's assume a scenario where let's assume that you collect a lot of information, right, in the form of pictures and notes. Now, it's kind of becomes your responsibility to go through those notes, go through the pictures, and get the data out of it. Now, if you can't figure out, using images by yourself, you obviously can use different stuff, right? If you have someone in your company who is very good in artificial intelligence or like machine learning models or deep learning models. I mean, you don't really need deep learning model for this, but I'm just saying if you have someone in your business who knows how to do a machine learning stuff based on the stuff you've written or based on the stuff you've captured, you can pretty much recognize the pattern and the things to improve for the customer. You can do that one if you're not able to decipher different things by yourself, right? Obviously, AI can help you with that, right, to streamline the process. So that's a kind of opportunity I would say that can be utilized to help the customer, right, based on the notes and the pictures you've taken. Now, there's a another thing you can always think that, right? It's not always the case that, right, that there is a problem, but it could be maybe the customer is hesitant, like that. Like for instance, like in trailer, right? They talk about customer archetypes or different characters or different types you can associate with the customer. So if you remember the previous example I did about in the previous episode I did about the net zero, right? Where customer has a problem they want to implement the net zero, which is great. Now there are many scenarios, right? There will be a set of customers who really know they got a problem, but they're not comfortable capturing the information. They're not sure how to do it. They are too overwhelmed. They said, "Oh, I need to capture, excuse me, the gas emission. I need to capture the vehicle emission. I need to capture the building emission. It's too much, right?" So that might be the one of the reason the customer said, "I don't want to get involved in that." So that's one of the area of the problem. So you can associate, you can give a name like someone who's hesitant, right? And there will be another group of customers who's very comfortable, but they don't want to do it for themselves. They wanted to outsource it to, hey, different team of people who can do that, right? So you can also classify, this group of customers as, outsourcer or whatever, right? Someone who likes to, you know, distribute the work to someone else to do it, even though they know how to do it, but they don't want to really want to do it, right? So analyze putting an archetype to this or I don't really want to call it as an archetype. I would rather call it as a classification, right? Like in machine learning, we have a common, we have a regression problem or classification. I don't really want to get into that, but I'm just saying since I briefly touched about the topic and machine learning, right? Just to recognize the data and based or recognize a pattern. Um, from your handwritten text notes or from your pictures, right? So when we're talking about that, right, classification is one thing you can consider, right, where you can classify a group of customers into certain categories. So in this case, you can say that one who are hesitant, like I said, right, they're pretty much overwhelmed to say, hey, I got this problem here. I wanted to capture the net zero, which I do know that, right? But I find it very overwhelmed to capture um, uh, the gas emission or the building emission, you name it, right? They don't want to do it. And there are, I mean, even though they wanted to do it, but they're confused. And there's another group who knows how to do it. They knows how to, but they don't want to do it because they find it too boring to do themselves, right? That's another option. And another group of customer where they wanted to do it and they don't have money to give to somebody else, um, but they got some kind of pain points, right? Right around they're not very comfortable with the usage of the software, or maybe they're not sure how to use the Salesforce Net Zero, or maybe They know how to measure the stuff, and they know how to upload the information or the data to Salesforce, but they're not sure how to build the dashboard, right? Using analytical apps or whatever, right? So you can categorize them into different group as well. So if you understand this, right, if you classify it, if you categorize it, you can work out the pain points and can help the customer. So that's one of the reasons why this topic is important. They can call it as an archetype, right? I call it as a classification, right? Different names, but it means the same. So yeah, that's a tiny topic I wanted to talk about in this episode. I hope you find it interesting. I know that this certification is more on the theory aspect. The reason why I'm saying it because this is a pretty interesting certification in my opinion. We do a lot of good stuff here. This certification is really useful for pretty much for everyone in my opinion. For a developer, even for a BAs, or even for solution architect, because this is one certification which I would recommend for anyone, right? Because you can get to learn a lot of things, right, which you may not get to experience in your day-to-day work activity. So that's one of the reasons why I said this is good as gold, sir. Right. So that being said, that's all I wanted to cover in this episode. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. Adios.